Shalom. My name is David, and I am broadcasting from the center of Jerusalem. And I want to talk about the tarot cards. I first became interested in the tarot when I realized that they were not just Kabbalistic, but if you read tarot backwards, like from right to left, the way you write Hebrew, that it would spell out Torah, because in tarot the final T is not pronounced, and in Torah the final T is not pronounced. And I bought some cards, and I spread them out on my floor, and I saw a pattern. I started understanding how they were Kabbalistic, and remembered that in the holiday in the winter called Hanukkah, that we play with the dreidel, we gamble with our children, to remind them of what happened when the Greeks came into Israel and tried to Hellenize us, tried to make us accept their gods, and at one point forbid us from studying Torah. So we took to gambling with cards that were actually Kabbalistic and were really ways of teaching. So we wouldn't have to stop learning the Torah. And I realized that this, obviously the Greeks took this back into Europe, and through a few thousand years, no, it's been 2,000 years, that it evolved into what's called the tarot cards, and some people use them for divination, which is not the proper use of them. They are spiritual since they are Kabbalistic. And when I saw how to read them, I went in, I was living close to New York City, I went into one of the decadent clubs there and convinced them that doing something spiritual in a decadent place would be an art form. So this was, what was it called, the limelight. So I became the tarot card reader in the limelight, doing these really spiritual readings for people, and it was noisy, it was smoky, people are doing drugs, people are doing all sorts of stuff. Decadence. And in the middle of this, I was reading tarot. Eventually, I moved up to Woodstock, New York, and became the tarot card reader on the Green. And at the end of that, I wrote a book called Listening to the Soul, about how the cards are Kabbalistic and how they can reflect a message from the soul, but not there's no divination in this. It's just the soul can speak through the Cabala. Sometimes people pick a book and open a page and feel this is their message from heaven. It's in a sense similar to that. And eventually I sold the rights to the book to Inner Traditions. This was like 20 years ago. And they published it as Kabbalistic Tarot. And a few years after that, I made a course on Udemy. It's a video platform with the same name, Kabbalistic Tarot. And it was quite popular. Has a lot of good ratings and good reviews on it, and I invite you to to check it out, both my book and my course, on my site davidhouse.com. So there is like a code there you can scan. And also, I wanted to take this opportunity to be able to speak about what it means to be Jewish, because the Kabbalah is like sort of Jewish mysticism. And I feel that in the world, there's a lot of misunderstanding what it means to be Jewish, and particularly that we are the chosen people. And we can't deny this. It's written throughout the Torah that we are the chosen people. And it's all through the prayers everywhere when you go up to the Torah, we say a blessing that Shir B'Chabanu, that God uh, chose us. And this has made like certain negative repercussions in the world because, like it seems like a very arrogant thing. And so I wanted to address this because no one asked the question, what were you chosen for? And when you hear the answer, one might have a different understanding of what this means. And just to preface this a little bit, that one of the things, the Torah is just full of knowledge. It's on 4 levels. The first level is the simplest level, what to do. The next level is the law. The next level is kind of what, the metaphor of the law. And finally, there is the secret. And in the secret, in fact, in the metaphor, it talks about how there were 7 things that were created before creation. And one was the Torah, because God wanted to create a creation, but he needed a plan. So God created the Torah, looked into the Torah, and saw how to create. But God also saw that the Torah needed to be received on the earth. And, it didn't who would want to receive the Torah? And so there was a soul also that was one of these 7 things. And God asked the soul, if I create creation, will you go down and receive the Torah? And the soul, not even knowing what the Torah was, said yes. It says the one who volunteers is the one who didn't understand the question. So God said, well, we'll see, and made creation, and took this soul and attached this soul to the firstborn of each generation. That's why in the Torah, when it recounts the generations of the first peoples, it always speaks about the firstborn. Then they had boys and girls, they had children, but the firstborn is denoted and is written exactly how long he lived. And this actually goes on for 2,000 years until Abraham. And Abraham is the firstborn, and God gives the soul to Abraham. And the story with Abraham is that when God wanted to create creation, the angels opposed it. And they said, if you're going to make creation and you're going to make a man and give him free choice, and he's going to be part human and part animal, well, he's going to do a lot of bad. And he's going to piss you off. God said, I'll learn compassion. And so God created God created man. And man but God said to the angels, if man doesn't work out, Adam doesn't work out, I have Abraham in my pocket, and he's a very special soul, and if we need him, so that's what happened. After 2,000 years, the world was really a wreck, and the flood had just happened, and people had gotten so bad that God had to flood the whole world to kind of purify it. And Abraham was, I don't know, like the 3rd, 4th generation since the flood. And so he came and he brought that soul into the world. And after Abraham, God said, I give you this soul. You give it to who you want. He gave it to his son Yitzchak, Yitzchak to Yaakov, Yaakov to the 12, to his 12 sons, which became 12 tribes. And this is how all the Jewish people are connected to the Torah. And what does the Torah demand of the Jewish people? It demands 613 commandments that we have to do every day from the moment that we wake up until we close our eyes at night. And they're divided 365 things that we're not allowed to do, and 248 things that we are required to do. And some of them, have to do with the temple or things like that. It doesn't that we remember them in prayer, but we don't actually do them. But there's certainly the majority of them are things that apply to the human being, and this is what we live by, and this is why we are the chosen people. We were chosen to do these commandments, and it says that without the Jewish people doing these commandments, that the world could not exist. And in a sense, this is kind of borne out because it says that we're created as below, so above. And we find that the earth goes around the sun every 365 years, and 7 planets out to Pluto goes around the sun every 248 years. The same connection of commandments, which is also replicated in the human body, which has 248 limbs and 365 major tenets that hold things together. And my book about the tarot is a way to try to bring this information to the world. So the rabbis were not accepting of my book, even though they couldn't find anything wrong with it, but they disagreed that I should bring this light into the world. But one of the commandments, of the 613 commandments, is the Jewish people are supposed to be a light into the world. So that's why I wanted to do this recording, and I hope you'll check out my site and my course. And after this, I'm going to do a series of videos about the end of days. Everyone seems to agree we're at the end of days. I'd like to be able to explain that and to assure everyone this is not a bad thing. Everything is just fine. You'll see. Bye.